Hey everyone. So I wanted to do something a little different today for our musicianship skills lesson. Um, this is a subject that came up in a few lessons this week. Some people were learning different pieces that included this. So today we're going to talk about natural harmonics and artificial harmonics. So harmonics, uh, the term itself just describes a certain sound that we can produce on stringed instruments. You can even produce these on a piano if you do some extended technique. But basically, what we're doing is we're creating a gentle stop on the string at a certain point that gives it this kind of like bell like sound, or maybe a little bit of a whistle rather than the very pronounced and full-bodied sound of a note that of like an open string or a fretted note. So we can perform harmonics in various ways. The first way that we're going to talk about is just to use our left hand or fret hand finger to make the stop on the string. And keep in mind that we're not trying to press down on the string. We don't want the string to actually touch the fretboard. We don't actually even want to move the string with the hand. We just kind of want to create a dividing point along it that helps it vibrate against the finger so that we create that whistle sound. So in other words, if this is the string, I'm not going to press down on it. I'm just going to go to the string as it's tense, and I'm going to rest my finger on it, right? So if you notice here, let's see if I can get this angle. So if I'm here, notice that I did not press down on the string. This would be pressing down, but this is just gently touching the string. So the next part of this principle is that when we normally when we fret a note, we can put our finger here and we get a pitch. Maybe we get a buzz if we do that, but we still get a pitch anywhere in this space, right? But if we try to do a harmonic like that, we don't quite get it. So the harmonic is actually located directly above the fret wire. So let's do it on this string so it's a little clearer. But I'm aiming to get my finger basically hovering precisely over the metal bar, and that gives me that nice whistle sound. So there's a number of harmonics located across the guitar. The easiest one to find is the 12th fret, and that's the fret right at the neck of the guitar. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this. You can do it on every string. And you might notice that the guitar is still ringing when I do these, and that would be the case if I do them on a different spot. That's because when we do harmonics, as I discussed a second ago, we're not stopping the string, we're not shortening it at all by holding down, and then the pitch is not dependent on our finger staying there, so it'll keep vibrating. So what we're doing with harmonics is we're basically, for that 12th fret, this is the fret that's located in the exact middle distance of the entire length of the string. So they place this accordingly because it creates the octave here. So when we choose the 12th fret, we get an octave higher than the open string. even test these out. So that's G, and here's G. So notice those are the same pitch. They have a different tone, but they have exactly the same pitch. So that's 12th fret. And then you can take either the length from here to here and divide it in half, or the length from here to here and divide it in half. And then you'll get another harmonic. In this case, we'll find our way to 7th fret right here. So 7th fret is there. This is actually the pitch of the 5th plus an octave. So in other words, when I play 7th fret harmonic on the low E, I get the same pitch as the open B string. Now, if we did the same thing in this direction, we'd end up at 19th fret, which I think is here. This one. Actually, I don't have a 19th fret on that string, but we end up right here. And notice that it's the same pitch as here. So from here, you can divide again, and I believe 4th fret is the halfway point there. And we can also do a harmonic at 5th fret, which so there's an interesting relationship between a 12th fret harmonic, 5th fret harmonic, and the open string. So open string is the low octave, 12th fret is the next octave, and 5th fret is one more octave higher. And that's the same on every string. So, most commonly you're going to play harmonics on, you're going to play what we're calling natural harmonics. We call them natural because they're the ones that occur just with the open notes. You can play harmonics over here. Notice that I'm using my right hand to do this. The principle is still the same. I'm just letting the string be touched by the flesh of my index finger, and then I'm picking with my ring finger. And so on. There's even harmonics over here. I think those match the 5th fret. So that's natural harmonics. These are a little tricky to get a good sound with at first, particularly the ones that are at 9th fret and 4th fret, which again are the same pitch as each other. But because they're such high pitch, we need to get more clarity from the actual attack and from the position. So one rule that I think you should follow is that when you choose a spot on your finger to, let's see, actually, so if you look at your fingers, they kind of like the flesh will kind of like dip down to like a point. So you want to choose like the narrowest point of your finger to touch the string with. You should be able to see that on each finger. There's like a little fatty part of the like basically where the center of the fingerprint is, that kind of hangs down lower into almost like a triangle there. And you can use that to very precisely touch the string. So that's the first rule. The second, we talked about this a second ago, is that when you play the harmonic, you don't have to leave your finger on the string, right? And in fact, it's actually better if you don't. So the quicker you can remove your finger from the string, the brighter the sound is and the more sustain it has. And that's basically just because if you leave your finger there, it's kind of slowing down the vibration of the string. Okay, so for picking, to get a really great harmonic sound, you want to play closer to the bridge if you can. So playing closer to the bridge just gives a little bit more articulation, and gives a little bit tinnier of a sound, which complements the harmonic sound well. So when we're doing natural harmonics and playing with two hands, it's easy to do that. You just position your hand that plucks the strings closer to the bridge. But if we were doing our right hand technique, you might want to extend your index finger a little bit so that you can reach a little further towards the bridge. The other approach is to pick with your pinky. Because it allows you a little bit further distance this way. Good. So the second part of this is that we can do a technique called artificial harmonics. So what I was saying a second ago about the string length and the harmonics being located at intervals of half, and then a quarter, and kind of reducing that by infinite halves, basically. That all translates to this other technique where we apply a fretted note, which essentially shortens the string by that much. So, in other words, if I'm placing first fret, or actually I'll do it on the low E, but if I'm placing on first fret, that means I've shortened the string so that everything has to shift up this way, right? So my octave is no longer at 12, my octave is now at 13, right? So this is now considered the middle of the string because we've shortened it here. So I can then play 13th fret harmonic, and now I have the octave of that note. Pretty cool. So then it should be said that if I've shortened by one fret over here, then instead of 7th fret, which would have been this harmonic, which I can no longer get, I can now get 8th fret harmonic. And then same thing here, where we had 19th fret. Now it's moved a little bit. And it's in fact beyond the neck here. And then same thing here, this one that was somewhere in the middle here has now moved a little bit. You can actually do this for any fretted note. You just have to be able to, eventually when the notes get high enough, you have to start being able to estimate where they exist. So sometimes it's very difficult to do, but other times it's rather easy. So like one of the pieces I play by Eduardo Sainz de la Masa has the ending passage goes like this. It's all artificial harmonics. So the last thing that I played was two harmonics at the same time. I played the octave high E here, and then I played this would be, I think this is the double octave of the high E down here, which is a really nice effect. But you might have noticed that when I was doing the fretted harmonics, so it's an E major chord, and then I'm choosing the octave of those notes up here, right? So second fret means that its octave is now at 14th. Again, second fret, octave at 14. First fret, octave at 13. Third fret, or sorry, that's second fret, octave at 14. And then, of course, we have a natural harmonic there on 12. But when I do these ones, the artificial harmonics, if I move my left hand or my fret hand, those just fade away. It cuts them off completely. Whereas the natural harmonics will ring as long as the string is still vibrating. So I hope this has been an interesting discovery for you if you haven't explored these at all yet. There's quite a number of pieces that use them. The one I just mentioned by Eduardo Sainz de la Mata is titled El Loco, and there's a number of arrangements. There's some holiday music that I've given out to students this week that included harmonics. But what you can do is you can, if you wanted to discover where they are, you could just go down the string like this and test them out, or use your other hand to do it if it's easier. You might have noticed there that I got a couple harmonics between the same fret. That's because the divisions get closer and closer. But just see what you can discover, and you might even try, if you know some scales, you could try doing the octave of them. You could also try doing the double octave of them, which would be, so we would have, you'd have to figure it out, but it's somewhere over here, right? So, yeah, there it is. It's kind of tricky, but I bet you can get it. So I hope this is easy to absorb. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll maybe explore them a little bit in our next lesson.